Hello and welcome back to Awakening to Your Stories Weekly Love. I'm heart expert and the author of the book Awakening to Your Story, Alicia Hartzell. I want to take a second and just say thank you for letting me come into your inbox every week. As a subscriber, you are what I think about all week long. I am constantly trying to find ways to help you, and I love the questions that you send over. I go through each and every one of them, and I want you to know that I appreciate you for all that you bring to the table of humanity. It's not always easy to show up and do the work and be curious and be honest enough and be vulnerable enough to put yourself out there in an email to someone who maybe you haven't met in person. I just want to say that I completely appreciate you for all that you bring to the table of humanity. And we're going to start today with an email that I got from a person, and it was a beautiful question, actually, one that I've actually heard with clients over and over again. And so I want to start with that question right now. The question was, I have lots of trouble people pleasing. Now, that's, I'm sure, not new. If you don't do it yourself, I'm sure you have a friend who does it. People pleasing is something that happens a lot in our society. I have a lot of trouble with people pleasing. I go to therapy, so I understand that it stems from my dynamic with my parents that was created as a child. But I have found that I don't have a way to change it. Do you have any tips or ideas that might help? I do, actually. I am going to give you 3 actionables today, like I always do, but this time I'm actually going to give you questions to ask yourself. So when you find yourself in the meat of like that people-pleasing struggle, you can actually take these 3 questions and utilize them to kind of help you come back to a place of centeredness, right? So the first question that we're going to look at is, where am I in my relationship to my consciousness, right? So if you're like clamoring all over to try to help people please, right? You're doing your dinner party, or you're trying to do a family vacation, or you're working with a best friend who is having a hard time, and you find yourself over giving to try to make it better for them, right? People please, people please, people please, a million different ways. Your first job is to ask yourself, where is my consciousness, right? So this is the perfect time to go back to the stream kayak principle, right? The stream kayak principle being, you have a boat, right? In everything that you need to live life and to be conscious is in that boat. That boat is your consciousness, and it flows on the river of life, one direction, downstream, in harmony, right? When you're in that boat, you're conscious, you're aware, you're in sync, and you're flowing. There's lots of trouble in the water. You may be paddling upstream. You may be not in your boat at all. You may be like floundering. You could have 2 people in one boat trying to fight for the ability to navigate or have control over that boat. If your boat is your consciousness and you're trying to find where you are in that space, your job is to, no matter what you're doing, put yourself back in that boat, right? When we're people pleasing, we are often looking outside of our boat, right? I've got some great language here, right? So the language that you can tell if you're in someone else's boat or you're trying to people please by jumping in their boat or having them jump in your boat is, let me please you to make up for something. Let me please you to fill a void within me or within you. You can't seem to find it within yourself, so I'm going to help you, right? If I don't please you or make you happy, I don't feel like I'm enough. I don't feel good enough or strong enough, right? All those kind of voices that go through your head, whether it's unconscious or conscious, they're pulling you outside of your boat. And if you're outside of your boat, you're not going to be able to be happy. You're not going to be able to find that place of joy. Your desire to please someone else leaves you suffering and without your ability to have your own pleasure, and it makes you like crawl and challenge your way through the scenarios and the friendships that you're in, right? Whether they're family relationships or friendships or even, relationships where you're with a partner. Those relationships are a sacred place to learn and grow. And if you're trying to please, you're actually outside of your boat. So the question is, where am I in my relationship to my consciousness? Utilize the stream kayak principle to help you figure out where you are. And if you're people pleasing, it means you're not in your boat on your own centered. So figure out a way to get to that place of center, right? Question number 2. Is my power to create happiness starting with me, right? So when we people please, we are outside of our boat, and what we're doing is we're saying that we are not enough on our own. The love that I'm giving myself is actually not enough outside. So I have to keep pleasing to be able to fulfill something within me, right? And if you're in your boat, that is where your happiness is, right? If you're trying to create your personal happiness by jumping into someone else's boat, it's not going to be sustainable. And I hate to tell you, it's inauthentic. You jumping into someone else's boat and saying, I got this. Let me take care of it. I will please you because you can't please yourself, or because I'm taking care of a void within me. It's not, one, it's not sustainable, and 2, that's not authentic. We can only love externally to the capacity that we love internally, right? And so if your focus is outside of that boat, it's an inauthentic expression. You're forcing it because of past things, that past baggage that you're carrying, or past circumstances that have taught you that your job is to make it better for someone else. When you're in your boat, right, and you're centered, your happiness and your ability to create wholeness and oneness in that space, that is what is going to be your authentic expression, right? And from there, you can love and communicate and engage with other people in a completely authentic way, right? So the second question, is my power to create happiness starting with me? It's got to start here. It's got to start in your boat. So your ability to create happiness externally, to create love and compassion and joy, all those beautiful expressions of your essential truth, they have to start in your boat. You can't create them outside of your boat to make you feel better in your boat. It doesn't work that way. Get in your boat, stay in your boat, create authentic expressions of yourself here in that space, right? Okay, so now let's think about the third one. Am I gifting conditional or unconditional love, right? Great, it's amazing. As we start to step more into a conscious space, right? As we start to step more into a place of loving ourselves authentically, staying in our boat, not trying to create love outside of our boat to feed an emptiness that we feel within ourselves. As we start to do that, conditions that other people have taught us start to fall away, right? Those, oh, you're not enough, so you have to keep creating, those spirals of thought, right? The things that get in our head and don't let us go, those start to fall away. We start to really look at how we are experiencing life, and all those conditions start to fall off. And as the conditions start to fall off in our boat, the conditions start to fall off externally, right? And this allows the people that you're trying to please to be exactly where they are. And that's a big deal in the people-pleasing kind of world, right? A lot of times we're people pleasing because we want to make their life better. And the core of that starts in our boat, but it expresses itself outward. And if you can love unconditionally, if you can take the time to ask the question, is the love I'm giving conditional or unconditional? If it's conditional, right? It's like, no, you have to feel happy so that I feel okay. So I'm gonna like paddle my way over to your boat, try to fix you so that it's okay, so that I feel better within myself. If it's unconditional, it says, wow, I get that you're struggling, and I'm sorry. And I want you to know that I love you no matter what it is. It's not in me to fix what's going on within you. But I want you to know that no matter what, I love you and I'm here, right? Doesn't that feel softer and more authentic? And from that place, right, you have energy, you have power. When you're people pleasing, all your energy is drained because you're fighting in someone else's boat for control. When you're in your boat, you actually have the power again. You get to step in and say, I am here wholeheartedly with all the energy that I possess to say that I love you unconditionally. Now that's the best way to please within yourself first and then gift unconditional love, right? So let's go over the questions one more time. Where am I in relationship to my consciousness, right? Figure out where you are on the river of life, and are you in your own boat? Is my power to create happiness starting with me? Double check. Where is my consciousness? If I'm in my boat, am I still trying to pull out to someone else to please them? I've got to start here. I've got to do what it takes to stay in my boat, to show up and to create love for myself first, right? That's what keeps you in your boat, right? And then third, am I gifting conditional or unconditional love? And if you can go through these 3 steps slowly and in the process of people pleasing, you'll find that you're going to start creating new patterns of belief and new patterns of thought. Don't worry if you can't do it all at once, right? Your heart, your life, your story, it is all helping to serve your higher good. And we're all just learning here, right? So take it one scenario at a time, one process at a time. Show up, ask the questions, and know that your heart, your story, and everything that you're experiencing in life is here to help all of us at the table of humanity. So be you, the fullest expression of you. Now, if you need to know or want to know more about the stream kayak principle, the book Awakening to Your Story, which you can find on Amazon.com, is great. It goes through the stream kayak principle. It outlines every scenario that you could possibly find on the river of life, and it gives you stories that you can read to kind of illustrate what it means and feels like to be in those places. Again, Amazon.com, you just search Awakening to Your Story and it'll be right there. Again, I am so happy that I get to be with you this week, and I look forward to being with you again next week. If you're not a subscriber and you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube or Vimeo, hop on over to awakeningtoyourstory.com and subscribe. I love coming into your inbox and giving you inspiration and support. And if you have questions that you want me to talk about and focus on, please leave them in the comments or email them at alicia@awakeningtoyourstory.com. Until next time, know that you are so very loved. For more support, information, and inspiration, join me at awakeningtoyourstory.com.